You're listening to the NABS Now podcast, brought to you by the National Association of Blind Students, a proud division of the National Federation of the Blind.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the NABS Now podcast, and today we're talking all about internships. We're going to jump right in by introducing our special guest for this episode.
Hi guys, my name is Emily Kiehl. I go to the University of Cincinnati. I'm a fourth year. I have one more year left. I'm in a fifth year program studying information technology and disability studies.
Hey y'all, my name is Anna Price. I'm from South Carolina and I'm currently working on my master's at Erskine Seminary, studying practical ministry with a concentration in pastoral care.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you guys, and I'm also super excited that we have very different fields represented. Okay, so our first question is asking about an internship that stood out to you, that you've personally been a part of, and why the internship was important to you.
I worked for a company called Round Tower, which was in Cincinnati, and I worked there during the height of COVID. So it was super weird to get an internship right at the beginning of COVID. So that was a little bit of a different experience, but also that was probably my favorite internship that I've done. I did system administration, and I just got to work with a lot of really cool people doing a lot of really cool stuff.
That's kind of cool. That's also awesome that you found an internship during the pandemic, because that's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, I was able to get a internship with Successful Transitions, which is run through the National Federation of the Blind of South Carolina. And through the course of two internships, actually, and through the course of both of those, I was able to serve in different positions. So doing everything from background office work to hands-on teaching work. So it really helped me to develop multiple different skill sets, and that was a really awesome opportunity.
Awesome. I love that your guys' internships are a little bit different because it's going to give us two different perspectives on this, which is great. So my next question is, how did you find your internship? And piggybacking off of that, do you have any tips for students who are maybe looking for internships?
Yeah, I found mine. I knew that I wanted a job for the summer. I started looking right after I graduated college. I graduated in 2020, so right into the pandemic. I knew that finding work was going to be difficult, but I also knew that I didn't want to do just nothing for the summer. And I went through a independent training program when I was a teenager in South Carolina and considered volunteering or working with them. And so I found out through just a course of a couple of phone calls and emails who was in charge of the teaching for that, and decided that I wanted to just give them a call. So one day, just called up the Successful Transitions and asked if I could help out, or if they were hiring, if they were doing internships. And so, yeah, I just say, figure out something that you're passionate about, figure out something that you want to do, and just start making phone calls, and don't be afraid to ask questions. You might sound a little bit silly, but that's okay. You could end up with a really cool opportunity.
I love that. That's actually so funny because my current job / internship, because I actually used it as an internship, was totally different department, but the parent organization was one that I actually did programs with as a teenager as well. So that's really funny that we have that in common. But yes, I love the networking aspect to just call and ask. You never know unless you ask. What about you, Emily?
Mine was definitely just people that I had already known. So at the beginning of COVID, I already had an internship for the summer since my school does co-ops. So you go to school one semester and then you work for a semester. And so I had a co-op lined up with another company. But when the pandemic hit, they were like, no, actually, we're not gonna give you a job. And so right after that happened, I was like, oh, okay, so what am I going to do now? And I was really just talking to some of my mom's friends, and we were just talking, and my mom's best friend's husband owns a company, and he was like, you want to work for me? And I was like, are you kidding me? And so like we did an informal interview, but like I knew him for a long time. He's known me for a long time. He was like, yeah, you'll fit right in. But I got to meet my manager. She just gave me a call and she was like, yeah, so show up on Monday. And yeah, but it was right in the middle of the pandemic. And so I guess I got really lucky.
That's pretty cool. See, you both networked with people. I think that seems to be a theme here. Sounds like we might have to do a future episode, maybe, on networking. So this next question's kind of big, so forgive me for that. But in terms of internships, a lot of times the material presented is shown to students by professors or instructors or other people in the field. So I'm really curious why you guys think internships are important, knowing what you know now from your internships and also from your perspectives as students.
I think the hands-on aspect is really important. Sitting in a classroom, it's really easy to say, oh, I could definitely see myself in this job. I could definitely see myself in this position, because you like what you're studying, you like the intake of information. But until you get to a place where you're actually doing some output, you're actually being able to see a snippet of what you would be doing as a potential future career in that field, in that position, you really have no clue what it's like. I never thought that I would enjoy office work or administration work. I never thought it was for me. I like being outside. I like being able to move around. But when I got the internship that I had and did the office position in my internship that I did, it was a completely different experience than I thought it was going to be. And I realized that I could still have the move about, talk to people aspect of life that I love, but still be able to learn some really awesome new skills in the office setting.
That's really cool. What about you, Emily?
I totally agree with Anna. It's really important to have that hands-on experience because it teaches you what you like outside of the classroom and also what you don't like. I was lucky enough that I got to try out a bunch of different things. So one day I would come in and I would be working on security systems, and the next day I would come work on physical management. I'm not sure, like working in different parts of the building, working with different groups of people, different systems. But outside of the classroom, you end up learning a lot more about what you're learning in the classroom, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
really the structured learning at UC especially is you apply what you learn in jobs to your classroom, not really the other way around. Also, money is really important. Just
understatement of the century, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, learning how to work is a very important skill.
That's true. I never thought about that. Maybe because I've had jobs before, internships, but paid ones. But I guess if someone maybe doesn't have that experience, it really is a good, even something as simple as like, okay, you're in person. Like, how do I manage a commute with transit or paratransit, whatever you use, or like budgeting transportation? Like, those are all really big skills. And you made me think of that with the money comment. I was like, wait, yeah, like definitely good time to practice at an unpaid internship versus like when you can get fired. I mean, I guess you get
finding transportation is also like a whole nother thing, but that's also really important.
Yes, that's a whole other episode in itself, I think.
Yeah,
you literally just segued into our next topic. So either of you guys feel free to speak on a time when you relocated for an internship or even just kind of moved within the same city, anything like that, and you know how that went, and if you have any tips for students maybe a little daunted by relocating for an internship, even just for a summer.
The first internship I had out of college was the summer after my freshman year, and I lived downtown, so I lived at my college house for that internship. So a lot of my friends moved back home with their families, and I opted to do my first co-op just living on campus since that's where my job was. So I didn't really move necessarily, but I definitely had that transition of moving to deal with because basically everybody else around me moved, if that makes sense. But for the first little bit, it was super lonely because I didn't know what I was doing. I was a freshman. I was right out of my first year of college. And all the friends that I made had just left. It wasn't a new job. I had worked there before, but coming home to a new house of people that I didn't know, I had a bunch of roommates that just weren't really that social. But that was the period of my life where I learned to live with myself instead of like relying on other people for, camaraderie or just company. I learned a lot about myself that summer. I struggled a lot, but you learn a lot about yourself moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I also got my first position after my freshman year of college. I had a very, very similar mindset where a lot of my friends were going home, but I just kind of wanted to keep exploring my independence. And so I packed up my dorm room, and instead of moving back to my hometown, I moved to North Carolina for a summer. And I worked at a retreat center campground type place. One of my friends who had met my freshman year had also gotten a position, and he encouraged me to apply as well. And it definitely ended up being a really cool experience, getting to explore a completely new area, and definitely having something to keep me busy for the summer was a really cool opportunity.
That's really neat. I like that you guys both got that experience, and not everybody gets that experience with internships, being able to move for one. And then my last question has to deal with advocacy. So do you guys have any tips or tricks or stories about advocating for yourself in the internship, whether it be accommodations or just in general?
I would love to start, since this is how I lost my last job, was advocating for myself.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, boy. You have to be honest. If there's something that you can't do, don't work around it to the point where they think that you can do, like, that you're struggling so much that your quality of work is declining, but you're fending for yourself. There's a balance that you need to keep, because if one day you hit a breaking point, sort of like I did in like my vision loss journey, where it was, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. My company was like, you're faking it. That's literally what my manager said to me. And so I left because I was like, that's ableist. Thanks. But really be honest. Don't take it all on yourself to support yourself. Let other people help. Everybody needs to be creative. Everybody needs to learn about what it's like to support someone with a disability. So yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable for some people, but a lot of people need to be put in that uncomfortable situation so that they don't end up like my manager, who said that I was faking it when I was losing my vision. So make people uncomfortable. It's awesome.
I need that line as a trademark.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think it could be a wonderful teaching opportunity for those who are maybe being a little bit kinder than your manager was. But my most recent internships working through the NFU of SC, fortunately, I did not have that problem, but I have had other positions and other internships where I did have to explain what blindness was and did have to show a positive blindness philosophy through lots and lots of questions, where I've had other managers, other people who have other coworkers who maybe didn't quite understand what blindness was. They thought blindness was just this one thing and didn't understand that someone who can see a little bit can still be blind. And so that was a really awesome teaching opportunity. And they also had never had someone with a disability like mine come and work for them. And so it was an opportunity for them to adjust and make changes so that when they had future interns come who are maybe in my position or in a similar position, that they would be able to accommodate for them as well.
I love that. That's amazing. Also, we reached the end of our questions, so if you guys have any other comments or you think I missed anything, just let me know.
I guess I have like one
Yeah, sure.
thing. Meeting people through internships is probably the best thing that you'll get out of it, because
that networking.
Yeah, that network of people can lead you to your next jobs or full-time jobs, or the people that you work with really create that community, and sometimes that's the best part of a job. The people that you work with make the job. In my experience, that's been the best thing that I've gotten out of it.
Yeah, there's people who I've worked with like 4 or 5, 6 years ago who I still keep in contact with and who I would still say is a friend of mine. And that's really, really cool that we live in completely different states, and we work together for a very short period of time, one summer several years ago, but that we could still be friends.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I know that internships can kind of be dry and boring to talk about, so I think we livened it up a little bit. Thank you so much to our special guests, Anna and Emily. It was great to hear such different perspectives on internships and why they're important. I really hope that everyone found this episode as illuminating as I did, and I'll see you guys next month for our next episode.
This episode was created and produced by Nina Marranca, Kinshuk, Tella, and Seyoon, Choi. Visit us on the web at napslink.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/napspage, on Twitter and Instagram at napslink. Thank you for listening.